Hi guys, welcome to DevFest 2022. Today we'll be talking about ethics in writing open source documentation. My name is Nwokocha and I work with a blockchain startup called Accumulate. So let us understand what open source is. So open source refers to something people can modify and share because its design is publicly accessible. So which means anything that is publicly accessible, anything anybody can make modification to or can share to everybody, then that is open source. So if you're writing an article and you post your article online, everybody can see your article, people can make changes to your article, people can share your article, then that article is an open source article. So let us understand what is technical documentation. So technical documentation is any piece of writing that describes the application. So you have a product and you have a documentation that is explaining that product. That is the technical documentation. Or talks about the creation of that product, or talks about the architecture of the product or the services. Then that means that document is a technical document. So, for example, we have the Accumulate on our screen. This is the Accumulate official documentation. So this documentation explains everything about Accumulate, from the features of their product to the new features in the releases, and talks about every other thing you need to know about Accumulate. So this makes it a technical documentation. Now, what also makes this an open source technical documentation is because you can access this documentation online. You can also share this documentation, and you can also make changes to the documentation. So the next thing we're going to talk about here is ethics in writing. So we've talked about open source, we've talked about technical documentation. Now let us talk about the ethics in writing that open source technical documentation. Now, ethics is a set of rules and standards for using communication skills and resources when writing a technical document. So we have rules in everything we do. Now, at our home, we have rules. Even in the deafest hall, they also have rules. So in writing, they also have rules. Even in churches, when you go to churches, you also have rules, the do's and the don'ts. So we also have that in writing. So now let us talk about the ethical issues in open source documentation. One of them is misleading information. You know, when you're not sure about something, you shouldn't just put it online, else you mislead people. Or sometimes people purposely write misleading information, misleading content. So when people start reading that, they will get confused and you've misled a lot of persons. For instance, you have this news going on about the COVID. Now, let's say COVID has gone and you still have people writing all about COVID as if COVID is still around, putting more fear in people. You're misleading people. So you're not putting the accurate information, telling them that COVID actually has gone or there is a vaccine that you can take. And instead, they'll be probably writing a different thing that would make people feel as if the COVID is around. So you're misleading people with that information you're putting online. So in technical writing world, that is a no-no. So manipulating information, you're writing an article with statistics, with numbers, and you just purposely change numbers. You change the date. You have a product, and the product says that the product will be launched on the 3rd of November 2023. And now you purposely change it to on the 3rd of December 2024. You've manipulated information, and that is not good. Put an accurate information. You don't need to manipulate an information. That is not good. So that is also the second point in the ethical issues. Now, plagiarism, more like the most popular ethical issues. When you write a content and you find out your content online without any referencing to yourself, definitely you feel bad because you spent so much time, so many resources to write out that content, and you see somebody has stolen your content. So plagiarism is a no-no. So it's not good for you to go online because it's an open source content. You just copy everything on the open source blog and paste it on your own. It's not good. It is a no-no. So harmful information, you know, this information would cause fear, would create chaos, and you still went ahead to write that content and post it online. It's a no-no. It's also part of the ethical issues. Now, so let's talk about the solutions to the problems that we have now. Now, one, you have to be honest. You know that this information is wrong. You have to be honest that this information is wrong. You don't need to even write it out. You don't need to even publish it online. You know you know that the statistics are wrong. You don't need to put it. You know that what you're supposed to, you've not made much research about what you're writing about. I have to be honest with yourself that I know if I write this thing I have right now, I'm not going to write the best. And probably I might even write something that might mislead people. So you probably need to spend more time to write your content so you can write out the best. So when you're honest with yourself, you have to skip those ethical issues. Now, don't copy another person's work, which is the plagiarism. It's wrong because you heard it's open source. Everybody can just go and pick it up. You just go and copy the content and start sharing up and down, making it look like you're the owner of the content. It's not good. Because it's open source does not make it and does not even give the room for everybody to start copying and pasting and claiming that it's their work. Now, in the next point, I'll talk about how to resolve this. Now, this is the proper citation. You copy the content from somebody, you will cite the person, you will reference the persons. So the referencing comes from your writing style guide you're working with. So we have APA style guide, MLA style guide, Google style guide, Microsoft style guide, and so many other style guides. So they have their rules when it comes to citation. Some of them would cite it at the beginning of the sentence. They will say, according to Enugu blog, that this happened. Or at the end, you put references, Enugu blog, this blog, that blog, to let them know that these are the areas to copy it from. So it is very, very important. Now, okay, I've talked about the citation example. So it is very, very important for you to know that you don't need to just start because you heard it's open source. You just go online, you copy the content, and you start sharing it and making it look like you're the owner of the content. If you know you don't have the time to study that and you want to add that to your content, it's fine. But make sure you cite the person that wrote, and not just because you want to probably everything. You start copying entire document and citing. No, you're just maybe copying two sentences or just a sentence written by that person and you cite it properly that this particular definition was gotten from this person or was gotten from that person. Other ways to cite too is that you can put the person's name underneath the definition to let them know that this was gotten from this person. So what I'm trying to say is that open source documentation is good because you have guides, you have articles, you have content, you have awesome information online. Now, that has given you room to learn more. That has given you room to study more from what you have and not probably start copying people's work and pasting it on your blog, pasting it everywhere, making it look like it's yours. It's a no-no. So thank you guys for this and thank you for this opportunity. Thank you so much. Bye.